Compliance updates are helping to develop the offshore funds industry, and Brazil takes one step ahead into the market following the trends. I am Mito Diniz, and this is São Paulo Direct by Dukascopy TV. And I'm here with Leon Collins, partner in the Irish legal firm Matheson. Leon, how would you classify the level of compliance reached by the offshore funds industry so far?
Well, I think, as we've mentioned at the conference today, the Alternative Investment Fund Managers Directive, which is the European directive which seeks to regulate for the first time on a pan-European level alternative investment funds. That was introduced in July of 2013, but with a one-year transition period. So I think we're still at the stage where the first reporting is taking place under the directive. Managers are still finding their way around the directive. They've put together the processes that they need to and plans and programs of activity that they need in order to comply with the directive, and now it's at the stage where they're making sure that those are actually being implemented, that they're following what they've said they'll do, and that they can achieve the level of reporting and quality of reporting that they need in order to ensure compliance. But I think generally I think the industry is coping quite well. Obviously there is an ongoing stream of new compliance requirements, new regulatory requirements, be it on a tax basis in terms of FATCA or on a regulatory basis, and I think in general the industry is coping quite well with that.
You've been advising investment banks and financial institutions all over Europe. What are their main concerns?
I think the main concerns are ensuring sufficient levels of corporate governance, ensuring sufficient level of oversight of delegates. There are things in particular that we're seeing managers and regulators themselves focus on, so that ultimately the senior management within organisations are aware of what's happening. We've mentioned at the conference today cyber security. That's another risk that I think is another issue that is going to become very significant, if it hasn't already become very significant, on the agendas of most investment managers and large institutions.
Yeah, here at the summit, you've been talking a lot about the cybersecurity issue. How is that subject in their agenda?
Yeah, I think in terms of cybersecurity, and particularly in the case of investment funds, I mean, the US administration has said that it believes hedge funds are the weak link in terms of the cyber risk within the financial services industry. The chairman of IOSCO has said that he believes that the next financial shock to the world system is going to come through a series of successful cyber attacks. PwC have reported that the level of cybersecurity attempted attacks over 2014 was up 48% for large institutions to about 43 million. So I think it's something that regulators are increasingly looking at, firms need to look at. It is something that, because of the complex, constantly evolving and borderless nature of cybercrime, it is something that no one regulator is going to be able to tackle. It's going to need a combined response from regulators, governments and the financial services industry.
Brazilian offshore funds industry is about to develop. That's what people are expecting now. What can we learn with the European example?
Yeah, I think that in terms of the Brazilian industry here, I think that to those managers that are going towards Europe, they'll see that there's a clear emphasis in Europe on corporate governance, ensuring entities are operating with substance, ensuring that there's adequate processes and procedures and business plans in place, whether that's to govern risk, whether it's to govern cyber security. And I guess if you are coming to Europe, while there is a challenge in complying with all those additional requirements, you are getting benefits in terms of marketing passports, in terms of building a type of product that is going to be attractive to institutional investors, and ensuring that in their due diligence the Brazilian manager's product is something that they're willing to invest in.
Have you ever advised a Brazilian institution?
We have advised a number of Brazilian institutions. We have found in particular that the Brazilian institutions, because they are used to a very regulated environment here, and a very high level of reporting here to the CVM, that it's not a big leap for a Brazilian manager in terms of coming to Europe and in terms of what they need to put in place to establish a European fund. So I think Brazilian managers are already well equipped and very educated in terms of compliance, reporting, transparency, and what's expected in a highly regulated environment.
Thank you. Mitchell Diniz to São Paulo Direct by Dukascopy TV.